Welcome Classic Rock fans to another 10 of the best, and today we're looking at the 10 best Prog live albums. This is a much requested video, I often get asked this, so I thought I'd finally get around to addressing it. Anyway, if you're new to this channel, please do click like and subscribe and do all that stuff, and while you're down there, check some of the links below this video for ways you can support the sterling work done here at Classic Album Review. It's all good stuff and it's all much appreciated. Anyway, with no further ado, the 10 best Prog albums, live Prog albums. That's a sticky one, isn't it? Anyway, let's start at the bottom of this pretty awesome pile. Number 10 is Kansas 2 from the Show from 1978, if I'm not mistaken. Now, my copy comes in this remarkably good box set. It's a perfect symbiosis, a coming together of the eclectic energy and creative spirit that very much defines this band. And of course it features a absolutely blistering version of Icarus on Wings of Steel, which is my favourite Kansas number, which I've gone on record already as saying. It also features Steve Walsh in his prime, and my word, what a singer he was when his voice shifted into fifth gear in those days. What is interesting about this album is the sheer emotional drive which flavours every track on it. The material for this album is harvested from two tours, 77, 78, and features tracks, of course, from their absolutely brilliant first 4 or 5 albums. Absolutely wonderful stuff. This album that did very, very well, went platinum in the US, and yielded a single, Lonely Wind, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, number 10 is Kansas 2 for the Show. Number 9 is Transatlantic World Tour from 2010. A wonderful album by a wonderful band recorded in my neck of the woods, well, almost, Shepherd's Bush Empire, London, as well as the beautiful interplay of the musicians and the perfect live rendering of this material. It's also the, I think, the vibe coming from the audience that very much makes this an exceptionally good live prog album. I think with the extras, you got some extras on this, which included a rendition of Genesis' Return of the Giant Hogweed from their Nursery Crime album, featuring Steve Hackett as a guest, if I'm not mistaken. It's been years since I've engaged with that, but if my memory serves me right. It's a set that consists of 6 numbers, and we also see the return of keyboardist Daniel Gildenlow. I don't think I pronounced that correctly, I hope you'll forgive me, but he's of course from Pain of Salvation. Number 8 is Jethro Tull's Bursting Out from 1978. This of course was recorded on the Heavy Horses tour, and it's an album that is compiled from, songs from a few of their European dates. The complete recording, recorded at Bern in Switzerland on May 28th, has obviously since been made available in its entirety on this remarkable box set, of course, the Heavy Horses Stephen Wilson Mix New Shoes edition, which includes that whole concert here. Whether we'll actually see an official release of the Bursting Out album, some might say it's pretty redundant to do that now, but nevertheless it'd be interesting if they could somehow find the recordings, associated recordings from that tour. I think Ian Anderson has insisted that they're not available, but who knows. This of course is Jethro Tull in their prime. This is the classic lineup here, consisting of then David Palmer, brilliant musician and arranger, John Evans, John Glasscock, and of course the remarkable Barrymore Barlow that so revolutionised the Jethro Tull sound as far as I'm concerned from Fix the Brick onwards. He was a real powerhouse drummer. And not forgetting for Martin Barr on guitar. Number 7 is Rush, Exit Stage Left from 1981. Rush represent the last profitable gasp of high-minded progressive rock, according to Rolling Stone. That province of virtuosic storytelling that certainly attracted huge audiences in the 70s. Albums like Hemispheres and Farewell to Kings, and of course the wonderful 2112. This is their second live album, which was recorded whilst touring their best album, in my opinion, of course, which is Moving Pictures. That in part is true, of course. I mean, some of these songs are taken from the Permanent Waves tour of 1980, as well as the 1981 Moving Pictures tour. And on this live album, as whenever we see Rush live, we see Rush's brilliance and genius channeled into these complicated riffs and incredible shrapnel bursts of drumming from Neil Peart, as well as the brilliant and virtuosic playing of Alex Lifeson, all supported by that Geddy Lee's stunning bass thrum. This album reached number 6 in the UK, 7 I think in Canada, number 10 on the USA charts. It was an album voted 9th greatest live album by Classic Rock magazine in 2004. Number 6 is Focus, Live at the Rainbow from 1973, and my version comes in this stunning collected box set. What's nice about this box set, of course, is they actually pay homage to the original artwork as such. Isn't that great? Anyway, this album was recorded in 1973 on the Pi mobile unit with recording engineer Alan Perkins. What is interesting, of course, is not the sheer weight of material mined from those wonderful, wonderful first albums. It's a rather interesting version of Hocus Pocus, which includes many, many changes that makes it markedly different from the studio version. And it features all those wonderful Focus numbers that we expect to hear, like Sylvia, of course, which is from Focus 3, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a wonderful album by a band very much in their prime, when those yodeling high notes could easily be reached. Number 5 is Camel, a live record from 1978. This is the band's first live album and is made up of tracks mined from different tours, including the 1974 Mirage Tour, the Rain Dancers Tour from 77, and if I'm not mistaken, the Snow Goose Tour of 75. The second disc consists of a full performance of the Snow Goose with the London Symphony Orchestra, and the performance of this is the highlight of the album. It's absolutely stunning. The orchestra add more complexity and warmth and kind of a cinematic feel to this record. And what is interesting about this performance is the slight differences from the studio version. For example, the additional solo on Migration and the theme of Flight of the Snow Goose being played on an organ instead of the usual synthesizer. Number 4 is Gentle Giant, Playing the Fool from 1977. This demonstrates not only how brilliant this band were with this complex arrangements of these songs, but various surprises as well when they perform them live, with several instrumental bonuses added to these live tracks. As you'd expect, the music on this album is played absolutely flawlessly, with some interesting modifications on these numbers. And this album mines several tracks from all their studio albums, except for Acquiring the Taste. The original UK LP version came with this wonderful 12-page booklet, which has never been replicated in the CD versions. I'd love to know what the version is like in that wonderful, humongous box set the Gentle Giant put out. A box set that I should have purchased when it came out. I really regret not buying that, but it's no longer available anymore. Or if it is, it's about 500 quid or £600-700 maybe. Probably the price of Rolling Stones ticket. Number 3 is Genesis' Seconds Out from 1977. This album, of course, quite rightly so, is lauded by Genesis fans as perhaps the greatest live album ever, not just the greatest live prog album. I must admit, though, I do feel a little bit disappointed with the mix. I feel the guitars need a bit of a lift, in my opinion. Nevertheless, you can't argue this is a collection of quality tunage. This is the band's second live album, and of course still features Steve Hackett as the band embark on their Wind and Wuthering tour from 77. Although it has to be said that the cinema show was actually recorded the year prior to that tour. And this is a transitional album of Genesis as the old guard move on, and Phil Collins clears a path from the drum kit to the front of the stage, and the band will ultimately become the threesome, I use that term advisedly, that they are now. I personally would like to see a remix of this album. I've just recently caught Steve Hackett on tour playing this album in its entirety, and what a night that was. Number 2 is Pictures at an Exhibition by Emerson, Lake and Palmer from 1971. This is an absolute masterpiece and would have featured at the very top of my Emerson, Lake and Palmer ranking video if it wasn't for the fact that video concerned itself only with the studio albums. This is a remarkable record recorded at Newcastle City Hall in all their pomp and glory, and features a rendition of Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition, hence the title. Mussorgsky himself said, "Sounds are ideas that just hang like pictures in the air." Any LP take this piece and very much make it their own, not only with the remarkable keyboard pyrotechnics of Keith Emerson, but the almost jazzy drumming of Carl Palmer and the incredibly rocky sound that Greg Lake achieves with his bass. For me, one of the things I really love about this album is the added vocal interludes by Greg Lake. I love his voice at this time. Before, of course, it very much later on started to darken and lose its nuance with age. This album reached number 3 in the UK charts and number 10 in the USA. And this album, of course, features the studio rendition of the said Pictures at an Exhibition as well, which makes it doubly interesting. Anyway, so that's my number 2 choice. Number 1 is Yes and Yes Songs from 1973. This is the pinnacle of yesness, for all that energy and capes abound. This is a triple album, of course, that was released on Atlantic Records. AllMusic says that in many ways the extravagance of this package equates to profligacy of the prog rock combo themselves, and we can't argue with that, can we? This album was recorded between February and December 1972, if I'm not mistaken, but comprises of material supporting their Fragile album from 71 and, of course, the new album. This was edited and remixed by producer Eddie Offord. And what is really fascinating about this, we start off with Bill Bruford on drums, and by the end of the album we've moved to Alan White. All the recordings made during this tour were released on that Progeny box set, which I was too tight to buy, but I did get the 2 CD version, which is still wrapped up in its cellophane. I just downloaded it as high-res MP3 files, so I've never got round to unboxing this. In fact, maybe I'll do that now as a special for this video. I shall keep that sticker because I'm getting a bit anal like that. And there we go, brand new, never been unboxed before. Let's have a look. I must admit I'd love to hear live recordings from the Topographic Ocean's tour, remixed and cleaned up. I have it on good authority that soundboard recordings do actually exist. Whether they'll see the light of day is another matter. There we go, yes, songs when this band were very much at their peak. Wonderful John Anderson, beautiful playing by Steve Howe, and the thunderous presence that is Chris Squire. Not forget all that virtuosic noodling by Rick Wakeman. So there you have it. This is a fairly quick video that I put together last night, pondering on my 10 best prog albums as has been requested. If you've got to this point without switching off, I'd like to thank you for doing just that, and maybe you could check out some of the cards that are flickering up here now. Anyway, I hope you're all well, staying healthy and COVID free, and more importantly, you keep listening.